Welcome back to Old School Sports and our OOTP 22 playthrough of the New York Yankees. We are at the start of the 2025 season, and we just made a interesting move. I had mentioned at the end of our last episode that Carlos Rodon was injured out for the season, and we have traded him away. Interesting transaction for us to do. We'll talk about why we did it shortly. But the news is that we gave away Rodon, who's out for this year, but there is a team option on him for next season. And we traded him to the Dodgers, had to retain 15% of his salary, and we also had to send 4 minor leaguers with him. And we just got a kind of AA, AAA type pitcher, Jeff Hackinson, in return. The reason we traded him away is that we're gonna try to do something interesting this year. We're gonna try to make our ownership happy, and one of their primary goals for us has been to cut the payroll to below $200 million, which with trading away Rodon, we are now well below $200 million, and also to generate $26 million in profit. The profit goal is by the end of this season. The payroll goal is by the end of next season. Right now we're on target to do both of those, and we do have a little capacity to actually add some payroll if we need to. My hope is that by doing this immediately, getting it done, ownership will be happy with us, and they will stop demanding that we lower payroll and let us be the New York Yankees that we've known for the history of baseball, or at least the last century of baseball. But the ownership's focus is extreme profit, so there is a chance that I'm going to make these moves and that they're going to just say, "Oh, great job! Hope you cut the payroll to 180 million and generate 50 million in profits by 2026 now." And if that's the case, it won't be optimal. But we still have the 8th highest payroll in baseball and the 2nd largest budget. We're investing a ton into player development. Maximum scouting budget of $24 million right now, and our development budget is $32 million. We've got the 6th best farm system in baseball. You can see 3 of the top 25 prospects in all of baseball, and we've been really good at the international level, signing not just international amateurs, but also discovering prospects. Our lead scout, Damon Oppenheimer, is excellent with amateurs, excellent with international players, and in addition to the large scouting budget that we mentioned, the biggest slice of it is going to international scouting, which has allowed us to find some pretty interesting players over the years. None of them quite ready for the major leagues yet, but if you look at our international complex, we've got 3 players that are 3.5 to 4 stars in terms of their potential there. A couple others in Blanco and Hurtado who could become good prospects for us. So the hope is that we will be a team with a massive payroll budget and also a great farm system. But if the budget is not what we were expecting when the Steinbrenners still own the team, then at the very least, hopefully we'll have a great farm system to keep the Yankees competitive. And competitive is certainly what we need to be. You can see we had a weak spring training at just 9-19. But we are looking forward to doing better in the regular season. We're AL East champions last season before losing in the first round of the playoffs to the Blue Jays, which was definitely upsetting. First round post wild card, of course. And want to do better this year. So certainly getting back into the playoffs is at a minimum, and hopefully winning the AL East and winning at least a round in the playoffs. And then once we made it to something like the ALCS, the hope is obviously that we win it all. So we will kick the season off and are hoping for good things for a 2nd consecutive season. Well, we made it through the month of May, and we're 12-11, disappointing, 4 games out. You can see we were off to a pretty good start, and then we're 2-8 over our last 10, so have not been playing well. The good news is that down in the minor leagues, we have Aaron Nola on a rehab assignment in Scranton. He's about to pitch his second game. Went 44 pitches in his first game. You can see he just did 3 1/3 innings. So we'll see how he does down there, and hopefully he will be back up with a big club before we know it. Well, we're another month into the season. You can see we're 27-23, 5 games out, third place in the AL East, and we're also a game and a half out of the wild card. So certainly need to start playing better. Looking at the roster, the good news is that we do have Nola back. Pitched a couple games, 3 games in the majors now, 2-0 record, 3.06 ERA, so great to have the ace of our staff back. And we're also getting close to the point where Luis Gil's minor league assignment will probably be over. He went 71 pitches 4 days ago, may give him one more outing at Scranton Wilkes-Barre, and then think about bringing him up to the major league team also, at which point we will be pretty much healthy. Shiku Shu having a pretty good start to his career, just won Rookie of the Month for the month of May. You can see his contact and avoid Ks are, the best on our team. Certainly seems like he's someone who has potential to bat for an even higher average than the 272 that he's hitting so far. So he's been a real nice addition to the team thus far in the early to mid stages of this 2025 season. Well, we're just past the midway point of the season. Haven't upgraded at first base. Don't have a ton of attendance, so the owner isn't pleased with those, but is happy with us cutting the payroll and making some progress towards increasing profitability. We've also been on a great roll recently. We're into first place with a 47-35 record. It's happened pretty suddenly, quite honestly, because you can see in our last 10 we are 9-1. In Toronto's last 10, they are 1-9. So they were running away with the division and just burying us. And now, fortunately, with most of the team healthy, we've gotten back to be first in the division. And, right now would, have a wild card spot. The loser of us in Toronto would get the wild card, but only up a little bit on the Angels. So the easiest path to the playoffs is certainly still through winning the AL East, which is going to be our goal. Looking at some of the league leaders, OPS, Cody Bellinger over 1, so having a fantastic season. You can see batting .323, 600 slugging percentage, 19 homers and 50 runs batted in. He recently won Hitter of the Month for the month of June, so he's having a real nice season. And then Eduardo Rodriguez and Jack Flaherty are second and third in the league in strikeouts, and Rodriguez is leading the league in pitcher WAR. You can see 9-3 record, 3.25 ERA, and Flaherty is 10-9 with a 4.01 ERA. He has been a workhorse for us, though. You can see. I was looking at 2024 stats. That did seem like a lot of games for him to have pitched at this point in the season. He's 5-5 with a 3.28 ERA, 147 ERA plus, 75 FIP minus. A lot of strikeouts, not walking too many people. So he's having a real nice season for us so far. So team has really turned things around over the last month or so, particularly in the last week. Got to hope that we keep that momentum going as we get closer to the trade deadline. Certainly may look to make a trade, add a little bit of payroll and a little bit of talent to the team. Kind of think that if we can't find a rock star first baseman to make the owner happy with someone better than Freddy Freeman, that some help for the pitching staff, particularly the bullpen, may be where we look to do a little bit. You can see Freeman has been kind of kind of mediocre this year. 257 batting average, 103 OPS plus, 7 homers, 38 ribbies. He's almost 36 years old, can see kind of trending towards a league average type hitting profile. So certainly not optimal for a first baseman, a power position in the lineup if he can't kind of turn things around a little bit. He's been looking for an extension from us, really have no desire to do that right now. And while the big three on our pitching staff, Manaea, Nola, and Rodriguez, followed by Flaherty, are all healthy, we just lost Jameson Taillon, shoulder inflammation, out for 7 months. So that is definitely the end of his season. He's fragile, and actually he's been reasonably durable for us the last few years. Hasn't missed a ton of time, spent time starting and relieving each of the past 2 seasons. This year he has been in the rotation all season, so it will be a loss in terms of pitching innings, but you can see his record of 7.6 with a 7.62 ERA. So he hasn't been good for us. We will have to make a decision on his team option for next year at $3 million. A lot depends on what our payroll looks like. If we've got a lot of money, it almost might make it less likely that we keep him. We might let him go and find someone who's better but less economical. If we are still under a bit of payroll pressure from ownership, then maybe we bring him back. But he's also, suffered another serious injury, and he's already fragile in terms of injury proneness. So that will all factor into our ultimate decision also. Just made one trade. We picked up the veteran reliever Dylan Floro from the Pirates. Had to give them 3 minor leaguers to get the deal done. But with Taillon going on the injured list and his season over, felt like we needed some help in the bullpen. Some help in the rotation also would be nice if that was coming. So we still have more decisions to make, but at the very least, we have another good, healthy major league arm. We'll see who Leas moves into the rotation, and along with Manaea, Nola, Rodriguez, and Flaherty, Luis Heel, who recently came off the injured list, has now pitched 11 games at the major league level this year, mostly in relief, will now slide into the rotation for us. We are at the draft. First pick for us, well into the draft, near the end of the first round. Scout is recommending that we take Steve Wilson, a high school starter. You can see he's probably going to have to develop a little better than expected to really be effective. The one interesting thing about him is he does have 6 different pitches: fast, curve, slider, changeup, splitter, and forkball. So that will certainly help him. He's got great stamina. Most of the other guys available who look like they have more potential than him are relief pitchers, although Jamie Madden is the other one that we're considering. Only has a 4-pitch arsenal, but certainly looks like he can also be a plus pitcher, and he kind of has some of the better traits in terms of work ethic, intelligence, that may really push him to, succeed and perhaps exceed expectations. So actually leaning towards going against what our scout says and going with Madden rather than Wilson. Would also note that they both have very high salary demands. The positive thing that we did this year, since we cut payroll so much, tried to make it up elsewhere, and in terms of our player development budget, we're only expected to have about 5.5 million in terms of what we need for our draft slots, but we put 15 million aside, so hopefully we won't spend all of that 15 million, but that does give us a little extra flexibility with signing some players who other teams may be shying away from because of their high salary demands. So we are going to go with Jamie Madden and sign him as our first pick in this draft. And we're now picking again soon because of the supplemental pick that we got for Gleyber Torres. Unfortunately, Wilson is gone. The Red Sox just took him with the last pick in front of us. So disappointing that the Red Sox jumped him and got him ahead of us. They're recommending, Oppenheimer is recommending another high school starter for us, Ed Sanchez. Looks like a decent profile. A little disappointing that his work ethic isn't great. We've still got this 5-star potential guy, Jared Mahoney, staring out there. I know that picking a reliever so early is just frowned upon incredibly, but this guy's pitching profile looks incredible for a reliever. He's also durable. He's been pretty good at college, as you can see, with a 7-1 record and a 1.12 ERA. Got some decisions to make. Always want to go with the starter, but Mahoney would be somebody who could very well be contributing at the major league level, if not in September call-ups this year, certainly at some point next season with the way he looks. And given that we're trying to be a little more responsible with our spending, he might be an interesting way to go. I just don't love the poor work ethic with Sanchez. If he totally meets his potential, he could be a good major league starter, although he doesn't have incredible stamina, so he may not make it as a starter either. I'm going to lean towards doing what people would always say to never do, and going with the college reliever with the supplemental pick. Let me know what you think of it down below. I know you're probably going to yell at me for it. Well, we're closing in at the trade deadline, record of 55-40, so we're still at first place in the American League East. You can see we're up by a game and a half on Toronto, and they're up 2 as far as the second wild card. So playing better. Would be good to open up a bigger lead and not have a ton of pressure on us as we get into the end of the season, but obviously a long way to go until we still get there. Going to take a look at what's available on the trade block from the different teams around Major League Baseball right now. Hopefully we can find an additional player or two who may be useful to us down the stretch. Obviously some big names out there with Cronenworth, Kershaw, Hader, McCullers Jr., Sir Anthony Dominguez, Ken Giles, Buster Posey. So a lot of people to pick through and think about. Wonder how long Posey's hurt for. 3 weeks with a concussion. That could have been interesting otherwise in terms of a real nice upgrade at catcher for us, but don't know how well that's going to work with that concussion. But we'll do a little digging and a little working and let you know whether or not we end up pulling the trigger on any trades here in the final days of July. And as we kind of think about where we might want to focus, looking at our team batting statistics, kind of middle of the pack in the AL in most of them. We are second in home runs. We are the Bronx Bombers after all, second in slugging percentage, so hitting for pretty good power. Pitching a little better, kind of in the top to mid-range in most pitching categories. Not great at defense. You can see our zone rating and defensive efficiency both near the bottom, so that's interesting. Looking at the way the team has played, obviously, pretty mediocre through April, May, and June, but have been really good here in July to allow us to open up a little bit of ground in the division, and certainly Toronto playing much worse has been a big part of that. Well, we have made a couple of trades to bolster the bullpen. To open up some space, we traded away Nick Nelson to the Royals, got a couple of minor leaguers, kind of AA, AAA kind of players in return. And then we picked up Josh Taylor from the Tampa Bay Rays. He's in the final stages of his contract, so we gave up a minor leaguer to get him. And then we also got Sir Anthony Dominguez from the White Sox. Again, he's in the final year of his contract, and traded away a minor league catcher to pick him up. So a couple of players to bolster our bullpen. We were feeling pretty good about those moves. Added a righty and a lefty to the pen, in addition to the acquisition we made a little bit a while ago of another reliever. If I wasn't managing so many of these games, I'd have a much better memory about this stuff. Dylan Floro, we added him not too far back, and he's pitched 6 games for us with a 6.14 ERA, so it hasn't been good. But speaking of not good, Cody Bellinger just got hurt, only out for about 2 weeks, so not a critical injury, but he is having a fantastic season for us, batting .329, 25 homers, 60 ribbies, OPS well over 1,000, 181 OPS plus. A true MVP candidate for Bellinger. We've got an option for him for next season at $25 million a year, which presumably we will happily take the option up on that. But unfortunately, we're going to have to place him on the injured list for the time being. We don't have a great answer at center fielder. Shiku Shu, who is having also a really nice rookie year for us, the 26-year-old from Taiwan, batting .310, also an OPS over 1,000, 163 OPS plus, 26 homers, 69 RBIs, has been even better than we could have possibly hoped. But as you can see, he is not very adept at playing center field, and his skills are, average for it at best. Hunter Renfroe, similar situation. A step up, but not great. So what we are going to do is we are going to finally bring up the 87th prospect in baseball, Jason Dominguez, who has been in Scranton for most of this season, for the entire season up to date, after being in AA and AAA a year ago. Again, not the perfect answer at center field, but hopefully can get us through the next couple of weeks. And Jason Dominguez going on to the 40-man roster. And welcome to the big leagues, Jason. You are in New York. It'll be interesting to see what Leas wants to do with the lineup. Let's check it out, see what his decision is. And he's putting Jason Dominguez in at center fielder, batting him right at the top of the order. And he's putting him in the cleanup spot against left-handers. So no pressure, Jason. You're just replacing a potential MVP candidate, and we're going to either let you bat leadoff or cleanup for the New York Yankees while playing center field for us. So I guess that's the nature of being a top prospect. So it'll be interesting to see what Jason Dominguez does over the next couple of weeks while he's replacing Bellinger. Probably nothing else for us to do in terms of the trade deadline. We did try to inquire about the biggest player who was out there at the time, who no longer is. Interesting. I wonder what happened with Clayton Kershaw. I'm guessing the Dodgers traded him away to someone, but he used his no-trade clause, didn't want to come to New York, apparently. Posey, we're still kind of shy on because of the injury. We have talked about or thought about Jake Cronenworth. It's going to be expensive, though. He's a great player. Would be an upgrade at second base, but another thing that I did want to kind of share with the group is that our rookie second baseman has had a nice little season for us. Nick Gonzalez, third on the team in WAR at this point, obviously well behind Bellinger and even behind Shu. But he's hit more than we could have hoped for, batting .296, 111 OPS plus, 115 weighted runs created plus. Not a great defensive second baseman, but we don't need much from him other than to make the normal plays and hit a little bit with the rest of our lineup. So given that Cronenworth would be so expensive and our guy is kind of off to a nice start in his career, didn't feel a lot of pressure to do that. So that's probably it for what the Yankees are going to do at this trade deadline, barring a big injury over the next 48 hours. Well, we played another couple weeks, and Bellinger is eligible to come off of the injured list. You can see that we're still up 2 games on Toronto, and Toronto is up by a game for the first for the home wild card. So in pretty good shape. Bellinger may have, cost himself the MVP award with missing those couple of weeks, but you can see that we still have some Yankees in the leaders. Judge is second in ribbies. Kind of a quiet season for him behind the incredible seasons that both Bellinger and Shu are having. But, the offense has gotten a lot better here in the second half of the season. Flaherty is still second in the league in strikeouts, and Eduardo Rodriguez is second in the league in pitcher WAR. You can see batter WAR. We got a little bit of a ground for Bellinger to make up if he's going to compete for the MVP award. His batter WAR right now is his total WAR is 5.4. So we'll see how he does over the last month and a half of the season. While he was up with us, Jason Dominguez didn't do bad. He held his own. Certainly was not dominant, but as you can see here, hit 217 while he was up. 68 OPS plus. Did have 2 homers and 10 RBIs and just 46 at bats in 12 games. So had a few big hits for the team during that time, but we'll send him back down to AAA now to make room for Bellinger to come off of the disabled or the injured list, and probably we'll see a little bit more of Dominguez in about 20 days when rosters expand. Hopefully he will be back at that time. Well, we've made it to September, and we're still in first place, up by 4 points on the Blue Jays, or 4 games on the Blue Jays. And we are battling with Seattle right now for the best record in the American League, and would be the second best record in baseball behind the mighty Dodgers, who are up 7.5 games on the Padres in the NL West. So hopefully we can close out the season well. Going to make some decisions now on who is going to be coming up to join the big club. We're going to bring Dominguez back just to give us a little extra versatility in the outfield. And then we'll look to see who we want to bring up from AAA as far as a pitcher to be an extra arm for the bullpen and a bullpen for us for the last month of the season. Another week has gone by and playing some real good ball. You can see 8-2 in our last 10 with a winning streak of 6. So we are now up 9 games on the Blue Jays in the AL East. Obviously going to have to be a complete implosion for us to not win the division at this point. So hopefully we can clinch in the next couple of weeks and then start getting the rotation set for the playoffs. Well, Toronto's made up some ground on us the last couple of weeks. You can see we're up by 5 games with 9 games to go, so still in pretty good shape. Our magic number is 5, but division has gotten a little more competitive than we had hoped, but we still look like we should be able to finish up with the best record in the American League when all is said and done. Had a couple minor injuries with the pitching staff, and we've just been very conservative in terms of putting people on the injured list, trying to make sure that we keep them healthy. Well, we're still up 5 games with just 6 games left in the season. You can see we're going to be home against the Red Sox and the Blue Jays the rest of the way. So hopefully we'll have clinched against Boston before we even play the Blue Jays, and those last 3 games will be meaningless. Obviously with a magic number of 2, the odds are in our favor. And at the very least, we have certainly clinched a wild card spot, but hopefully we can close out the regular season well and win the AL East for a second consecutive season. We do have Stephen Ridings and Aaron Nola who will be coming off the injured list shortly. Nola, of course, started the season on the IL, had a much less significant injury recently with some back tightness, but he wasn't recovering from it quickly, so put him on the IL just so there would be no confusion, and Leas wouldn't end up using him in a game when we didn't want him to. You can see he's healed now, just 2 days left on the IL and 1 day left on the IL for Ridings. So assuming there's no other major injuries, Hunter Renfroe has been a little banged up with a sore elbow, but nothing material. We should be fully healthy for the playoffs. This is certainly the hope. Well, we are headed into the final series of the season with the Blue Jays, and it's meaningless as far as the AL East. But with us having played worse over the last several weeks, we're now tied with the Twins for the best record in the American League. So hopefully we can win more than they do in these last 3 games, and at least hopefully clinch home field advantage through the American League as long as we're active and still winning. Well, both us and the Twins won most recent game, but a bit of a disappointing news for the team, but not crippling. We did just suffer a really significant injury. Trey Fromm, who had split the season between Scranton and the Yankees, got his first taste of the majors recently, and he pitched really well. 0.77 ERA with 13 strikeouts in 11 2/3 innings. Just suffered a torn rotator cuff, though, so he is obviously done for the year and done for most of next year. So we will bring up a replacement for him to handle these last couple games of the regular season. We'll bring Robert Broom back. He's been up and down between Scranton and the Yankees throughout the season, but give him a chance for maybe playing another game down the stretch. So just won again, 9-3 against Toronto. And the Twins keep winning as well, though, so we're going down to the last day of the season to see who has the best record in the American League. And we lost the final game of the season to the Twins, so we finished 95-67, 586 winning percentage. We'll be in the playoffs, but if we end up facing the Twins in the ALCS, they will have the home field advantage over us, unfortunately. Thinking about our playoff roster, just one real change from the 26-man in the regular season. We are keeping Jason Dominguez on. You can see that he ended up hitting 260 and 77 at-bats with 5 homers and 18 ribbies, 519 slugging percentage. To keep him on the roster, this young switch hitter, we did take Austin Shenton off, or we'll be taking Austin Shenton off, the left-hander. You can see batted .231 with a .376 slugging percentage for us. So feeling is Dominguez gives us a little more versatility in terms of being a switch hitter, and he also did produce a little more than Shenton did in the limited time that he was up with the big club. And we will be facing the AL West division-winning Seattle Mariners in the divisional playoffs. The division series right here, you can see that they were 89-73 in the regular season, so a bit worse than we were. We've got the home field advantage. Very good pitching, only 691 runs against for them, so they were the best in the American League. We were a little more balanced. We were 5th in the league in scoring and 4th in the league in runs against, which led us to the 2nd best record in the American League. You can see we're going up against Liam Henry, so a tough matchup for us in the first game, but we have our ace on the mound in Nola. And we got whipped 6-2. Nola apparently did not pitch very well. Let's see what the box score looks like. Oh, 2 2/3 innings, 5 runs, 3 of them earned. So not a good start to the series for us after we lost in the division series to Toronto a year ago. The hope is certainly to get a playoff victory under our belt in the division series this year. Sean Manaea on the mound for us, 13-7 season with a 3.99 ERA, going against Emerson Hancock, who was 8-9 with a 4.75 ERA for Seattle. And we've now lost 2 in a row, and one of our pickups at the end of the trade deadline, or as we headed into the trade deadline, Sir Anthony Dominguez got the loss in the game for us, unfortunately. So we are down 2-0. Going to need to be perfect the rest of the way with the next 2 games on the road to be able to move on. So not a great game from Manaea either. 4 earned runs in 4 1/3 innings. And then you can see here Dominguez got knocked around pretty hard. 3 walks and a hit allowed in just an inning pitched. So not the way that we wanted the playoffs to go. Got a day off tomorrow to compose ourselves. And then possibly best pitcher on the team for us on the mound, Eduardo Rodriguez. You can see 16-7 with a 3.45 ERA and 223 strikeouts. So with the season on the line, don't know that we could ask for anybody better than Rodriguez to be getting the ball in his hands from Scott Leyes. And we were swept out of the playoffs by the Mariners. So disappointing, although strangely, and I don't know that this could ever happen in the real world. We lost the series 3-0, but our young second baseman Nick Gonzalez won the MVP for the series. It'll be interesting in seeing what type of numbers he put up. I can see he did bat .538 in the series, 1 home run in this final game here. Interesting that he's the MVP when you can see, Kelenic hit .385 for them, France hit .400, Miranda hit .364, .385 from Lewis. You would think that one of them was MVP, but I guess that's the small reward we'll get. But the Yankees, unfortunately, after winning the AL East for the 2nd consecutive season, are knocked out of the playoffs in the division series for the 2nd consecutive season. So the long losing streak of not winning the World Series is now at 16 years, dating back to 2009 for the Yankees to have won. And as we head to the World Series, some familiar names around us. The Blue Jays, who we beat in the AL East, will be in the World Series, facing off against the Los Angeles Dodgers. And you can see the big trade that we made last year to clear payroll, hopefully make our ownership happy. Carlos Rodon did come back very late in the season. He pitched 1 game at Oklahoma City in AAA. Wasn't that great. 2 innings pitched, ERA of 9, walked a couple, struck out a couple, but the Dodgers are going to be using him in a potential Game 4. So interesting to see that he did come back and make it into the World Series with the Dodgers this season, and have to see how he did in the playoffs. And you can see the mixed results from Rodon so far in the playoffs. Pitched 1 game in each series. He pitched in 1 game against San Diego and then 2 games against Milwaukee. Pitched in wins in both of those and got the W himself in Player of the Game award on the October 26th. So it'll be interesting to see what the Dodgers do with him. Presumably, since they traded away for him with us, they will exercise the $18 million option on him for next season. And the Toronto Blue Jays, who we were ahead of in the AL East, are your World Series champions, beating the Dodgers 4-2. So we're not that far away from winning a World Series. But as I said last season, doesn't matter if we make the playoffs. We're the Yankees. We're expected to make the playoffs. So it's a disappointing season when we don't win. It'll be interesting to see how next year unfolds. Going to obviously have another busy off season ahead of us, and we'll need to see how the front office reacts to some of the work that we've done. We did end up cutting payroll the way that they wanted, and then we also ended up with a balance higher than they wanted for this season. So our hope is that that will make management happy, and they will hopefully be a little less intense with us about cutting payroll and increasing profit, and give us a little bit more money to hopefully spend so we can continue to bolster our lineup as we head into the 2026 season. Looking at our stats for the season, the offense has gotten pretty good. You can see we're near the top of the league in most categories. Pitching, a little bit more middle of the pack when all was said and done, although positively pitching WAR, we were second in the AL, and we also didn't allow very many home runs. Kind of crazy. We were second best in terms of preventing home runs in the AL, and second best in terms of hitting them. So that certainly explains a big part of why we were able to win the AL East this year. But our defense is pretty much the worst in the league, so that may be something for us to focus on as we think about next season. Looking at our offense, had some incredible seasons this year. You can see Cody Bellinger, just awesome. 42 home runs, 105 ribbies, 338 batting average, 656 slugging percentage, and a 9.1 WAR with an OPS of almost 1100. Definitely a strong MVP candidate. You can see here led the league in on-base percentage and slugging. Obviously also OPS in a 191 WRC plus. So just an incredible season. Will be interesting to see if he's able to take home the MVP award when we get to that point. A nice season from the rookie Nick Gonzalez, as I've talked about earlier. Stepped into second base. Hit better than we had hoped. Batted 300 for us with an OPS of 819, OPS plus of 117. He's not a great defensive player, but wasn't horrible. Just not, doing much better than average. But, if he bats 300 for us, we can certainly handle a average glove at second base. Second on the team in WAR was Aaron Judge. He's been really healthy for a fragile player over the last several seasons. Got to knock on wood that he can remain healthy, but the best season he's had in a long time. 44 homers and 132 ribbies. Batting average of 282, 139 OPS plus. Just a great season for Aaron. And then Shiku Shu, our rookie sensation, came over from Taiwan and had a really nice year. 33 homers and 96 ribbies, batted 309 with a 148 OPS plus. So the offense has definitely made some strides in recent years. Going to have a real strong outfield again next year with those three, but then we're going to have some decisions to make too. Max Muncie is getting older. You can see 27 homers, 68 ribbies, but only a 213 average. Freddy Freeman will be a free agent, hit 242, did hit with a little more power in the second half of the year to finish with 24 homers and 81 ribbies, but not clear that we definitely need him back. We still potentially have Pavin Smith to take over at first base, although his season was not incredible. We talked about how bad our defense was, and, Xander Bogaerts is certainly part of that. Definitely not an above-average second baseman, but disappointing effort for him at the plate this year. Led the American League in at-bats, but hit just 228, 68 OPS plus. Negative 1.1 WAR for the season. And from a fielding perspective, absolutely a below average shortstop. So we've got some work to do. Going to have to decide whether he is the answer for next season for us or not. Still have him for $15 million for another couple seasons, so it won't be the easiest contract to get rid of if we decide to move on. Perhaps we can ultimately move him to third base or something, perhaps. We'll see what happens. And then if you looked at those other real low wars we had, you saw both of our catchers there. Sean Murphy, 13 homers and 37 ribbies, but batted just 164. We have him there for the defense, but his WAR was still negative. Look at the fielding stats, and looks like he was decent. It's hard to figure out exactly how much he meant to our pitching staff. So hopefully added some value for us there. And then Austin Hedges, we know that he can't hit, but he did hit 11 homers and 24 ribbies, but a batting average of just 136, OBP of under 200, OPS of under 500, so his OPS plus was only 29. So a rough offensive season from Hedges. He's getting older. He's a free agent. We'll have to make a decision on whether we can continue to deal with his lack of productivity at the plate despite his great glove. And then finally, looking at the pitching staff, you can see Eduardo Rodriguez led the team in WAR, 5.4, 16-7 record. FIP minus of 67 was best in the league, and pitching WAR of 5.4 was also best in the league, and his ERA plus was 140. So a really nice year for Eduardo Rodriguez. Glad to have him on the squad. Manaya went 13-7 with a 3.99 ERA. Goal is just to kind of keep him healthy, and he's pitched 2 consecutive full seasons for us, which is great. Nola was certainly not lights out, 9-4 record and a 4.21 ERA. Hopefully with the off season to kind of heal up from the injuries he may do even better next year. And then Flaherty was 11-12 for us, 4.61 ERA. You can see here that Luis Medina and Nick Nelson split time as our closer. Jonathan Lasaiga also got 6 saves. Sir Anthony Dominguez got 9 saves. So it was definitely a closer by committee situation for us with the bullpen. That is about all I have to say about that. Disappointing season to not at least win a round in the playoffs, and obviously our goal is always to win the World Series, but the fact that we now have back-to-back AL East titles and back-to-back playoff appearances makes me feel that at least we've got the team headed in the right direction. We're going to get through the awards, get to the off season, and check in one final time to let you know if we had any winners of any of the major awards, and then also hopefully get some color from our owner as to what our budget's going to look like for next year. Well, we accomplished a lot of the goals. We were supposed to cut payroll to below $200,000 by the end of 2026. I guess the fact that we aren't to 2026 yet, we don't get credit for that, unfortunately, when we're kind of going through our review of the season goals with him. He says we're not paying attention to him. We can't ignore his instructions. We cut payroll well below $200 million, dude. I know you're the owner of the team and you're probably a billionaire, but open your eyes. And we also increased profit significantly. Definitely did an upgrade first base, so I agree with them on that. And we were positive that we made it to the playoffs. Overall, he's good with our performance, reasonably happy with our team, so that was positive. Have some big decisions to make. Jack Flaherty, probably at this point a league average type pitcher, which we kind of see in his ERA pluses and his FIP minuses over the last couple of years, maybe a little better than average. Going to be, is 30 now, will be 30 at the start of the season, but $8.5 million option for next season to us doesn't sound that bad, so we are going to execute that option. Cody Bellinger, we have a team option for $25 million, Yes, please. Jameson Tyone, different situation. The team option for $3 million doesn't really sound that bad. He's just fragile. He's going to be 34 years old by the beginning of next season. Kind of the best we can hope for is league average. He does have great stamina, and he's been pretty valuable for us. You can see over the last few years, really only a regular rotation member once in 2023 when we had a ton of injuries. But he just pitched so horribly this season before he got hurt, and he's going to be coming off of another major injury. Appreciate what you've done for us, Jameson, but we are going to let you go and test free agency. Maybe we'll bring you back even less. And then Max Muncie, we've got a $10 million option for him. He spent the last 3 years with us. 2 pretty good seasons, 115 OPS, 132 OPS plus. This year he dipped down to a 106 OPS plus, and you can see he's a big part of our fielding issues. Played a little first and second this year, but a lot of third for us, and not a very good defensive effort at all. One of the things that we've been tasked with from our owner when are looking at our new goals is to improve from the worst defense in the league to something else. You can see here he wants us to improve our defensive efficiency from 15th. Given Max Muncie's age and the fact that he doesn't really hit enough at this point, I don't think, to be a designated hitter in the American League. Profiles is maybe slightly above average offensively, simply because he still has good home run power and a good eye. But we're going to think about finding someone else in free agency and or giving some of our young players some time. So we are going to void that also. Tough decisions, but the type of decisions that we need to make. Interestingly, the owner gives us a $328 million budget for total team expenses, but he still wants us to keep the payroll under $200 million. So it's just a little weird. It seems a bit illogical, but he's the owner of the team, so he can be illogical if he wants, and we have to adjust to his whims and desires. Looking at our roster as we get ready for the off season, we'll be replacing Freddy Freeman at first base most likely. I guess it's possible we re-sign him as a free agent. As you know, we just declined an option on Muncie. We've made an offer $7 million a year for the next 3 years to Lasaiga. We'll see how he responds to that. DJ LeMahieu, we still have a bit of his contract on next year. Murphy's headed to arbitration, and then a lot of older players, Renfroe, Chafin, Tyone, and Hedges, probably will not make offers to any of them. Possible we'll bring some of them back in free agency, but don't see any real urgency to lock them up before they potentially hit the free agent market. Well, Cody Bellinger just missed out on the MVP award. You can see Wander Franco, who also had a fantastic season, leading the American League with a .362 average, slugging percentage over 600, and 27 homers and 118 ribbies at the age of 24. Certainly a worthy recipient, although obviously we would have preferred if Bellinger had won the award, but we'll be glad to have him back next season, making another run at it. We did get one award. Our rookie Shiku Shu had a fantastic season, unanimous winner with all 30 first place votes. So a great rookie season for him at the age of 26, going to be celebrating his 27th birthday shortly, and we are very happy to have him locked up for the next couple years at just $8 million a year. So turned out that was an excellent signing for us, so very happy to have him on the team. So that is a wrap for the 2025 season. AL East title, but we ultimately came up short as far as winning the World Series championship. We will be back in our next episode to talk through the 25 to 26 off season. Until then, hope you have a great day, and thank you so much for watching.